Michael Lindsay's here. Let's see. Amanda, did you check in? I don't think so. Gail is here. Jackie is here. Jamie, I do not see. Karina, I see that you are here, correct?
Yes, Karina's here.
Perfect, thank you. Lita, I am not seeing. Michael, I'm seeing. Kenny, I am not seeing. Is there anyone from on the board list that I missed? I do believe we have a quorum. Is that correct, Arlia?
Yes, we do.
Perfect. Okay. Let me go through other folks as well. So I see that Amy Fair is here. Certainly Arlia is here. Ashley is here. Let's see, Jamie. I'm not seeing Jessica.
Hey, Kim, we're actually in a conference room. I've got Jessica here with me and
Oh,
Kate
perfect.
Price and a few other of our team.
Perfect. Okay. Tom, I see that you are here. Kathleen, I see you as well. Excuse me. Let me see. Liz Price, or Liz Perez, excuse me. Chantel, you are here. Christy Pritchard is here. I see. Is there anyone that I've missed that is here? And if so, I apologize in advance. Okay, perfect. If all of you would take just a couple of minutes, if you've not done so, to review the meeting minutes from September, which seems so long ago. And if you've had a chance to take a look at that and you find no need for edits or changes, I would appreciate a motion to accept.
A motion to accept, Kim.
Thank you, Shane. Perfect.
I'll second.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, perfect. Kenny Carlson, are you here by chance?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I can. Perfect. I think I missed you on the first round of roll call. So moving on to the agenda, we've done roll call. We've approved the minutes. Board member updates. It looks like we do have a new member, Kenny Carlson. Kenny, would you like to take a couple minutes and introduce yourselves?
Welcome, Kim.
My intent was not to put you on the spot, even though I just did.
No, I was already warned. So, can everybody hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would you like me to share with you?
Sure. I'd say give us how'd you find out about the board and kind of what's your interest in being a part of it?
Yeah. So, I found out about the board from Shane Lindsley, and my background is kind of in I'm 15 years sober now, and for the last 5 years ran a nonprofit locally here in Spokane to help men out of incarceration, addiction, homelessness, and now I'm a business consultant for another nonprofit helping people directly off the street get work. And so that's my passion, is really just to help others overcome and navigate the things that other people have helped me overcome and navigate. So
perfect. Thank you. Great job in your sobriety, and it sounds like you're going to be a really good addition. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. I think moving on, let's go with county and Justin.
Good afternoon, everyone. We have members and those that are joining us. Justin Johnson, I'm the Director of Spokane County's Community Services Department, and I'll be giving an update on a topic that we have been teasing for quite some time. It's been a labor of love over the last 2 years to get this project up off the ground. It is our Crisis Relief and Sobering Center expansion. So I'm going to give a little backstory, and I'll be brief on this, I promise. When the county 3 years ago embarked upon creating a stabilization center, the plan was to be able to provide immediate service as well as crisis system and jail-based diversion. That resulted in the current stabilization center run by Pioneer Human Services that is and provides a level of care between stabilization, withdrawal management, and co-occurring residential. Approximately 48 beds at the current facility. However, since it's been open, we've realized that there is a need for an immediate walk-in and or some other engagement service that's needed where medical necessity or diversion for maybe medical clearance, which is currently a barrier, could be reduced and allow for community members to either refer and or walk in individuals, family members, community providers for treatment services, or even just a direct referral from a medical provider. That does not currently exist at the site. So that got me working on a plan to expand it out and allow for that service to be put in place. And about 2 years ago, the state passed a new treatment center type. It's called a crisis relief center that allows for 23-hour and 59-minute services. Key component of that is it's not 24 hours, which would make it an overnight service, which would require inpatient or bed. So that's why you will see 23-hour and 59-minute limitation. It does not mean that they only stay there that long, but it does provide for a very specific set of services in an outpatient setting. So 2 years ago, I told the board we should be doing this because it provides for expanded level of care. The board put forward $5 million of opiate settlement funds to be embark on this project. They petitioned the state legislature, who awarded $3 million. They petitioned the feds. There's a $3 million ask out to the federal government as well for a direct appropriation. And then they set aside $10 million of mineral sales tax. The reason behind so much money is, first of all, capital projects are expensive. And we wanted to build out a comprehensive singular building to be able to provide the entire level of care at the existing site. So it's not just going to be a separate building. It's going to be an improvement on an existing building with expanded care. And I'll walk you through what this will look like. You guys will get a sneak peek at the facility with some images. And Arlia, I'm going to share my screen. That way I can drive. Thank you. This is a current rendering of the facility. So I'll give the narrative on this. It's not important to look at the narrative on the actual document because I'll walk you through it, and I'll try to be as succinct as possible. But if there's any questions, please reach out there, put it in the chat, and/or raise your hand. So this will go on the site near the Boone and Cedar Street where the current Pioneer Center exists. It's kitty corner to the existing jail, and the expansion will be on the north side of that. So let's pull this up. Can everyone see the white page?
Yep.
Excellent. This project is being overseen by Spokane County, although I am one of the design and project leads. Ashley McGee, some of my team are actually supporting that. New staff member joining and supporting us in project development is Amy Fair as well. So you'll be seeing her come over. We are supporting Spokane County in this project with the principal lead being Mike Sparber with the law and justice side. So it's a wonderful partnership for behavioral health and the criminal legal system, really looking at how we can engage individuals, provide for better care, and allow for more tools in the tool belt for law enforcement, first responders, and community members instead of the ER, the criminal legal system, or crisis response services. Now, there will be integration with those. So again, those will continue to exist. This isn't going to replace services in the community, but provide for another level of engagement to better serve the community. So here is the Boone and Cedar Streets where the current building exists. You can see my cursor here. It'll be this block building here. The current site where this new building will go is just a parking lot and a public works building. The STA Plaza is next door, and the jail is right over here, kitty corner to the campus lot. And so the expansion will build out for the entire west north corner of that lot, and the lot in the back will be retained for potential future use. The current projected number of chairs in the facility will be about 16 with 8 with 8 sobering chairs. I was going to say beds. So 24 total chairs in the facility. The goal is to be able to scale up. The crisis relief is more acute, where sobering is not. So if there's a need for greater or more acuity, we would scale up to the full 24. That's what it's going to be built out for. But for those with lower acuity, which we do anticipate will be a greater need, then we can run at the 16 and 8. Again, part of this is less about acuity, more about funding resources. We can access different funds for sobering than we can for the crisis relief. The goal is to be able to maximize the available service and funding so that we maintain a more sustainable project long term. One of the things we learn from other projects around the state is they built these big facilities with multiple beds, and there isn't the census needed to maintain operating funds so it remains sustainable. That's challenging. So we're trying to be smart, multi-use, expand out existing resources to limit the overall cost, but at the same time, provide for a level of care that's desperately needed in the community. The facility will have one receiving center, which will be here. It will replace the existing Sallyport. Community members will come in through the front door for walk-ins. After hours, there'll be a separate walk-in door through a secure port, but individuals can be received at any hour of the day. Law enforcement and first responders, including ambulances, can drive up in the bay. All individuals will be received in a more therapeutic and community front-facing building, where it'll be less institutional and more welcoming, recognizing it's a voluntary facility, not an involuntary facility, and it needs to meet the needs of individuals who have a history of trauma and fear associated with criminal, legal, or crisis system. This will provide for a safe and more responsive immediate entry point. The Crisis Relief Center will operate on this east corner. So individuals will have an open area where they'll be able to provide for that 23-hour and 59-minute. The average length of stay that we are seeing across the state is closer to 18 hours, so anywhere from 10 to 18. They don't stay the full 23. They either leave based on their own accord, or they're referred to another level of care. Based on the partnership we have with STARS, with the STAT program, we're seeing that of the individuals that come into the facility, about 80% are referred to an inpatient level of care or a higher level of care from the current STAT program. We expect those numbers to continue at this facility. And I've said this before, that is the best kind of direct service comparison to what we have in the community that this will be modeled after. We tried to take an initial step in that direction to kind of see what the need is. We're seeing about 100 individuals a month at the STARS facility. That's right about where we expect at the Crisis Relief and Sobering Center. We're just shy of that. The existing facility will retain its beds. And if you look here in the middle, they're actually going to gain an outdoor space that will be therapeutic and open to the inpatient side, that it will be at least 4 to 5 times bigger. Well, 4 times bigger than the existing spot. Not 5 times. There are safety issues that we have to make sure for the space and location, and because of that it being open to the elements, the design features can fit around that. But otherwise, they'll get more availability for outdoor engagement. Here's another view of the site from a from a aerial view. Here is the county courthouse, which encompasses the public safety building, the jail, and the superior courts right here. Here is more public works, kitty corner to the jail and emergency management. And then up here is the site that we will be building on, with this north corner being the new facility. All of the east portion here will be retained for future use or potential future expansion of services on the site. Whoop. Here are some renderings from the streets of the current area. They're a little pixelated, I apologize. This was a computer rendering done by our builder. It just will show you what it will look like if the board moves forward with the existing design from the street from Cedar, with the existing building, which there is a reason why the existing building looks brick and looks relatively like an old stable house, because it's a historical landmark that cannot be altered. So the new building can be. We're not changing the existing site, but the stabilization center cannot be altered. It'll retain its red brick facade with the new building looking more modern. Here's the current aerial view. This right here is the north side of that lot where the building will abut. The building that's currently there here will be demolished and removed. That would be the corner of it. And this retaining wall will remain. This corner here will remain as well. To lower this to grade across the entire lot would have taken hundreds of thousands of pounds of dirt removal, the cost being astronomical. So by maintaining this, there is privacy for the facility, but at the same time does not diminish the ability for individuals to be able to enter that site from a street level view, that being on the west end. And here are some more views. Here's the Phoenix, I apologize, the Pioneer Human Services Current Treatment Center building. And then, of course, more thoroughfare. This, again, was shared with a lot of the work that we're doing in terms of zoning. So you'll see some slides based on how we do for public works. This is a conceptualization of how individuals will come in. This is just a current conceptualization. Law enforcement drop-off does not include in this conceptualization the first responders or fire, which we currently have a contract for co-response. So that'll be added here. The goal is to allow for both walk-in, law enforcement, drop-off, and community referral, which would be another one. They would receive the exact same client intake. They'd be assessed, and then they would either be assessed to remain at the existing 23-hour crisis relief and sobering center facility, which they would be entering, or referred directly into the inpatient side if they met criteria. The goal here is to say what exactly is the need and what needs to be addressed. Part of this review will also allow for a medical screening. A lot of the issues we find in inpatient facilities, they're not able to do a medical clearance, so they send them to the ER, and then they send to another facility, and they send back again. We lose too many people in that shuffle. We want to be able to do it on site. Now, there are going to be limitations to those being received. If they are currently or actively with wounds that cannot be managed or medical conditions that cannot be managed, then they will be sent to the hospital. But we know there's a lot of in between that can be definitely assessed and cared for. Another area that we're looking to expand is for medication management. This might be an area where individuals can come and receive an immediate review dependent upon the need. Not necessarily that individuals immediately get medication, but this would allow for a direct no wrong door approach into services. One thing that we're still working on is expanded services at the site. I would love to see co-located MOUD programs or medication for opiate use disorder or MAT treatment, medication assisted treatment that encompasses a wide range of different behavioral health conditions, and pop-up medical clinic that can provide connection to a medical provider for physical health. Currently, they do this at the Navigation Center in conjunction with the teaching clinic. We would like to have a connection at this site as well, recognizing that individuals being discharged need to have a medical component assessed and also connected if that's the need that exists. Discharge is also a big component of this. Although we cannot, as a part of the current limitation that exists, provide immediate housing, we do recognize there needs to be a warm handoff to providers in the community as well as resources. this will be integrated as part of the function of the facility, as well as connection to existing resources like the navigation center. The different designs from when we started till now has us actually ending on a design that looks more like this right here on the right side. However, this end here actually encloses. So this is not the final rendering. Like I said, you're getting a sneak peek behind the scenes of designs that have not been completed yet. This is the final design right here, where this is going to be Cedar coming off the street. This is going to be Boone. And this is going to be the walk-in. And this is going to be the Sally Port. Now, some of this is still under development, this area here, as well as some of this area here. This is not going to be here. It's going to have one outdoor space instead of two. So this design, again, still needs to be revamped somewhat. And we want it to look open and welcoming, kind of like the center down here on the right, but we're also managing what the needs are of individuals coming in, especially having high light capacity isn't always conducive for those that are withdrawing from substances. So how do we manage between the two, that it's welcoming and inviting, responsive to the needs of the individuals, but also is conducive to healing? So this is actually a rendering more of what the existing site will look like. But again, this is going to be for design and urban integration. I'm going to kind of race through this because it's more about building this out and needing for city engagement, for pedestrian engagement, architectural expression, that sort of thing. This is going to be more of the program layout that it currently exists. So this is what we do envision the final layout will be. Here's the courtyard that will be primarily utilized by the inpatient based on the time that people will be spending. When you're only staying for 10 hours versus 7 days, utilization of the courtyard would be predominantly accessed by individuals that are there for longer. We'll have the engagement center here for staff, where this will all be open. These are just half walls where they can engage freely with individuals. They won't be behind glass. There will be an ability to have some separation between staff to mine the special therapeutic spaces from the staffing section. However, we wanted this to be open and inviting to individuals, and for them to be able to talk directly with a staff member. This will be teamwork or closed off. So if there needs to be some charting or engagement with protected health information, it can be done behind doors. There'll be food, meds, and this section up here is going to be kind of separately walled off, distinct for those that are going through withdrawals for sobering. So if they need to have more quiet space that is with less light, there will be additional cameras to manage and monitor, but there will be more quiet and design space for individuals. They'll come in the Sally Port here or through the front entrance. Up here will be where we anticipate outside providers having meetings with office and consults. There'll be a family visitation area as well for individuals that want to come in and see their family members at the inpatient, and also for individuals coming into the lobby that have community engagement, handoff, or referrals for them to be able to meet the individual and then do a warm transfer. Again, this is a lot of graphical designs. We will have better pictures to look at the layout, but you're getting a quick sneak peek behind the scenes.
Thank you very much. That's actually fantastic. Can't wait till it opens, is fully going.
Hi, Justin, I have a question.
Yeah.
Is this still going to be operated by Pioneer?
They were selected through an RFP process to run the new facility. We still need to sign a contract with Pioneer once the facility is complete, in advance of that. However, they were selected through procurement. And this is what a rendering looks like from the outside. The board still has not chosen a final name. The full facility will have a name. It will no longer be Crisis Relief and Sobering Center and the Stabilization Center. It will have a singular name, and we want it to be more therapeutic than utilitarian, right? So we have a couple different names out there. I'm going to say a name. I don't, and want to be clear on this. specify that anything has been selected, nor has the board chosen, but one of them is PATH, diversion and recovery for prevention, assessment, treatment, and healing. So that is one of the names, possibly Cedar, because of Cedar Street. So Cedar Recovery and a diversion center, or something like the care facility. These are all names that will be considered as part of the process, including many others. Again, we are still trying to select what is makes the most sense for the public, as well as in alignment with what other facility names are out there. So we're not duplicating. Here's a closer look. And I know it looks like a college campus. That's for the purposes of renderings. It'll look much different as a treatment center when we get some board. And the name will be out front as well. The Spokane County name, and the outside will look more welcoming and inviting than a gray brick building. Here's another rendering. Here's the loading and receiving zone. There'll also be ability for community members to be able to drive up, drop off, and then leave without impeding the accessibility of first responders' vehicles. And here is it from a more raised up view. This will be Cedar and Boone. The goal is pull it back from Boone sufficiently to not impede traffic on this high traffic area, and to do so on more of a low traffic street. So that's where all the entrances and everything are. And with the SDA Plaza having a lot of buses come in, keeping it on the street just meant a greater safety feature for the public. North End.
Justin, this is super exciting to see this. When do they expect to be done?
Excellent question. We're breaking ground in January with an expected go live or open date for spring of 2027.
And then, should the conversation come up, are we allowed to go ahead and chat about this, or is it still under confidential or anything like that?
No, it's been we're sharing with you because we want you to share this out. Some of the
Perfect.
material, like the names, that's not yet to be decided, so there isn't a name. So if you do share it out, hey, there's a lot of great names we've come up with. That's what I would say. But otherwise, yes, we would really like as much information go out to the public on this. It's going to be a revolutionary resource for those that may come in contact with first responders. Is not replacing existing. The goal for this was to say, what is the gap? Build that out without damaging or impairing the current resources that exist, so we can continue to protect the comprehensive array that currently exists.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah.
Justin, can I ask you a couple questions?
Yeah.
What you had mentioned that 80% of the people were getting referred to treatment after initial injection. So what is the period? Are they transitioning immediately, or is there a delay in time before they get placed into the treatment facility from the facility?
Yeah. So at the STARS facility, that's where I mentioned the 80%.
Yeah.
They are, for the withdrawal management services, they're getting transferred immediately.
Oh, that's awesome.
And having that co-located at the STARS facility was that purpose. For MOUD treatment, they are getting it immediately there on site. So it's within same day. However, for those that are referred outside, that is a little bit more tricky. You do need to drive them. And so the vast majority are served there at the STARS location, with some being referred out to community members, which STARS has built in for transportation. That's the key aspect, getting them to where they're going. And for that number, it may take slightly longer, but once a facility is located, they're transferred via STARS' van.
Oh, that's fantastic. Because I know over the decades, it's been a week to 2 week, sometimes 3 week delay in the wintertime. And that's when we were losing a huge number of people. So, all right. I super appreciate you doing it. And I will say, I think this is going to have a major impact on the neighborhood, since the house across the street is a well-known drug house for decades. And they just had Cedar and Maple shut off yesterday for the very same action. So you're right in the exact right place to impact this neighborhood for decades to come in a positive way. So that's really exciting as well. Just the presence, the footprint.
Yes.
So that's huge. So appreciate you once again.
Yes, the need exists in that community and in that space. So that's we also are trying to be mindful though of the public, not building out too much. We recognize also that the downtown corridor or adjacent tends to have a lot of that built out, and there needs to be a good partnership with the community and the local members who live in those areas. So we are working diligently with them as well. But yes,
Yeah.
I do hope that this provides a direct connection, and you do highlight some key areas of need in the community.
Big time. So thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments for Justin? Justin, thank you for that overview. It's fantastic. I appreciate it.
Definitely.
All right, moving on. Let's go to administrative updates. Crisis data dashboard. Amy?
Hello.
Hey there.
Hi, I'm Amy Fair. I came on as the department's project coordinator about 6 months ago, and I get to show you guys the data dashboard today. So let me share this. All right. So I'll start with our bigger numbers here. We had 388 high utilizers, 7,426 hotline calls, 4,710 total individuals served, and then we had 19,567 total services provided. None of that's out of the ordinary year over year or quarter over quarter. And then for our high utilizers, you can see it broken down by crisis line, other crisis services, and ITA investigations. None of that's out of the ordinary either. Pretty in line with last quarter and last year. Our number of individuals served is about the same. We did have a little bit of a rise in other crisis services provided this quarter, which is reflected both in this pie chart and then this graph over here. And then moving down. For place of service, we did have an interesting uptick in the number of out-of-office visits offered through our more rural providers, which was interesting. For the regional crisis hotline, we did have an interesting uptick in September in the percent of abandoned calls, but our average answer times still look really good.
Oh, that's a mouse, honey.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an odd jump. And then for our mobile rapid response encounters and investigation outcomes, those are still pretty typical. No notable changes there either. I know that we have had some conversations about redesigning this dashboard so we can better show trends year over year and quarter over quarter. So rest assured, we're still looking at that. That is a conversation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Doesn't sound like Amy. It doesn't sound like any Amy. I appreciate the update. Thank you so much.
Of course, you're welcome.
Let's see, jail transition and diversion. Jessica.
Wonderful. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I think many of you I've had the opportunity to present here on a couple of occasions. My name is Jessica Thompson. I'm a behavioral health supervisor here at the BHASO, overseeing the program side of our division, and happy to be presenting to you all again today. We're here to talk about our community services diversion team. We have had some exciting expansion in this area. Previously, we've presented on the 5177 prosecutorial diversion program. And since that time, we've expanded to include some additional service among that service array, including jail transitions and reentry services. And we've also added to our team. So I'm excited to be able to introduce new team members and share a little bit more about how things are going with the diversion program and that new entry point into services. And with that, before we get too much into it, I'm going to let my team introduce themselves. And I'm going to begin here with Jamie Knox.
Hi, I am Jamie Knox. I'm a diversion behavioral health coordinator, and I've had the privilege of working with this program since 2019.
Thank you, Jamie. Pat?
And I'm Pat Donahue. I'm the behavioral health coordinator with the diversion program, and I've had the privilege of being here since August of 2020.
Sarah.
Hi, I'm Sarah Zapp. I'm the diversion case manager, and I've also been here since August. So,
two new exciting additions to our team to expand upon the efforts that Jamie has been doing out there here in the community for a long time. As a reminder, the 5177 program has been in operation since 2016. And more recently, we're adding another entry point into those services and allowing for services to be provided as somebody's re-entering into the community. Arlia, can you move down to the next slide, please? So we are, as I indicated, the Community Services Diversion Team. We work to provide care coordination and connection services to individuals experiencing behavioral health conditions at the intersection of the criminal legal system. We do this through different mechanisms, including both pre-release services and post-release services. And some of the goals within this program, we aim to reduce criminal justice system recidivism, provide connection to services, allowing individuals to feel more stable and successful in their recovery, and reduce unnecessary utilization of the criminal justice system in doing that. We aim to reduce the number of referrals for RCW 1077 competency evaluations, as well as improve the housing outcomes for individuals participating in our programs and increase access to behavioral health services. Overall, we also, of course, want to improve quality of life for all of our participants and improve community safety by connecting individuals with behavioral health services so they can maintain and achieve that recovery. And how does that work? I'm going to move on to the next slide and on to Jamie Knox to share a little bit more about program details and how things stand now.
So how does it work? Participants are referred to the Community Services Diversion Team by either prosecuting attorneys, public defenders, detention services, behavioral health providers, as well as we take self-referrals and family referrals. And that is both on the jail transitions and the 5177 caseload. The diversion team and the assigned prosecuting attorney, when it pertains to 5177 diversion, we'll go over the referred individual and case and determine eligibility as well as requirements. Will they engage with us? Then the diversion team meets with individuals where they're at, jail, community, library, whatever works for them is what works for us. And we determine the needs and identify a plan to address those needs. For people currently in custody, that's great. We have jail access. Diversion team then meets with participants weekly to assess compliance with the program and treatment recommendations. We assess the needs and provide care coordination and support for 5177 participants. And we meet on a biweekly basis with the prosecuting attorney that oversees their case. So every other week, we're meeting with that prosecuting attorney that's let us take the case out of the court to work with these individuals with the ultimate goal as it pertains to 5177 as a dismissal with the court system.
Wonderful. And I'm going to move on to Pat to share a little bit more about what does program eligibility look like. And again, we've presented to you in the past about the 5177 prosecutorial diversion program, but making sure that as a refresher that program allows for individuals that have misdemeanors or low-level felonies on a case-by-case basis be referred to our program. And if they participate in our program and meet the following conditions that Pat is going to share more about here in a second, then they're eligible to have their charges dismissed. And so that's just a refresher on that part of the program that we're sharing here today. And Pat will share a little bit more about what program eligibility looks like and what the requirements are for individuals participating.
Yeah, so Community Service Diversion Program supports those individuals with behavioral health issues, as well as that are involved in the criminal justice system, which has been said. These individuals may be in jail or they may be out in the community and can access our resources when they're referred. Many of our referrals come from individuals. Well, the individuals are charged with the misdemeanors or low-level felonies. The felonies are considered on a case-by-case basis. And referrals can be made, as mentioned, from community service diversion to our team from emails. Individuals can get them from their attorneys for a referral, or they can be self-referred for themselves. What the expectations are is that they check in with the diversion staff on a weekly basis. They can't have any new criminal law violations, no use of substances that aren't prescribed to them. They can't possess any firearms. They have to attend all their court hearings and attend all behavioral health appointments. They may be asked to submit to random UA for alcohol testing as required by their court requirements. And there may be additional requirements that may be added depending on their individual treatment needs that may present themselves.
And those requirements are solely for the 5177 prosecutorial diversion program. When we're helping somebody re-enter into the community and following incarceration, those requirements do not apply. And we're just trying to help the individual get connected so they don't have to come back in contact with this system and ensure that they have the tools needed to do so.
There was a question that came through the chat. I want to make sure you folks saw. What happens to those who are unable to recognize that they're sick, have severe forms of serious mental illness, and are unable to provide for their own basic needs?
I think I might need a little bit more context for the question to ensure that I'm understanding correctly. If an individual is referred to our program and there appears to be some sort of behavioral health challenge, we can help them figure out what their needs are and help get them what they need in response to that and help them kind of figure that out. To be eligible for our program, there has to be some sort of behavioral health component. It doesn't necessarily have to be diagnosed, but it does have to be something that's part of that. And if they refuse, they refuse. This is a voluntary program, so they have the right to refuse participation in this program. And whatever recourse that may mean is, if they choose not to participate in the 5177 prosecutorial side, that may just result in them going back to an alpha docket and going through whatever sanctions may come from that. And Gail, I also see your question. So yeah, it's sometimes, individuals don't successfully complete our program, though our stats are pretty good in that regard. And we'll talk about that here in a minute. If somebody does, unsuccessfully complete our program, they're initially first brought back to the alpha docket and go through the regular processes. But there are situations potentially which somebody could have, unsuccessfully completed our program, come back around, and then the prosecutor decides to give them another chance. That can happen. I wouldn't say it happens often, but it's definitely up to the prosecutor in those decisions for the 5177 side of things. An individual that we've worked with and is re-entering into the community on the jail transition side, they can absolutely come back as many times as needed, and we will continue to serve them and help them in any way that we can to make that re-entry back into the community successful, so they find themselves in hopefully a better situation within that.
So quick question on that, Jessica. So if there's a new charge that's not related to their mental health or their chemical substance use, does that count against them? Is there some minor thing with maybe there's, I don't know what it might be, but unrelated charge, does that kick them out?
Not necessarily. So we do have situations, and this is again on that 5177 side, where an individual is participating in our program and then they do get a new criminal law violation. Again, it's up to each prosecutor to decide how they want to handle that. But oftentimes, depending upon the charge and the severity of that new charge is brought into the program, and that is also then becomes a charge that is eligible for dismissal if they meet the conditions and requirements of the program. Not always. Sometimes the violation is more severe or something the prosecutor is not comfortable with. And then in those cases, then that would not be allowed within that. But we have had several occasions where an individual gets a new criminal law violation and the prosecutor brings that into the diversion program. And then that's another opportunity for another dismissal.
Oh, thank you.
You're very welcome. And before we get too far, I want to be able to let my team brag a little bit about the stats that we've been able to, the statistics of our program and the success that we've had. And I'm going to turn it over to Sarah to share just a little bit more about that.
Awesome. So since program inception in 2016, we've had 367 participants enrolled. Of those 367, 72% successfully completed the program and had their charges dismissed. And of that, 89% did not reoffend within 12 months following the program. Our diversion team is supported by multiple stakeholders in the community, and we wouldn't be able to do it without them. So while it is us, it's also everybody else surrounding us.
Very well said. And I want to touch on one other data point that is not on the screen. One of the other things that one of our other goals is to reduce the need for our CW 1077 competency evaluations, as you saw on the first screen. And during the last fiscal year, so state fiscal year 2025, which I guess we're still in that, from June 2024 to July 2025. So we're not still in that. But only 1% of our successful completions were ordered to receive a 1077 competency evaluation, and we're really excited to be able to provide that statistic to you as well. And of the cases that we received, about 25 to 26% of those are felony cases, and the remaining 75% are misdemeanor cases. And that's what kind of our current caseloads are looking like.
And it looks like there's another question in the chat.
Yeah.
So
if deemed incompetent, where do they go from there was the question.
So if somebody is, they end up getting ordered a 1077 out evaluation, they can go a couple different routes depending upon if they're in custody or not in custody during the time that they, that initial referral for that competency evaluation had been sent. But if they're in custody, oftentimes they go to Eastern State Hospital to be restored. And so they go through the competency restoration process where they receive treatment and information about how to participate in their own defense. What does the court system, how does it work? How does it operate to make sure that they understand and are able to participate in their own defense? And then that restoration can also happen in the community dependent upon the individual's needs and where they are when that referral has been made.
Your statistics look great.
Just one more question.
Absolutely.
So it looks like you follow the individuals for a year. Is that when it cuts off, so we don't have any other data from that, or how does that work?
Yeah, so for the 5177 side of things, it's 6 to 18 months. More often than not, it's that 6 months that we're seeing in terms of individuals who are participating in our program, but we also have had individuals up to 18 months, or I think there might have been one that went a little bit longer because the needs were as such that the prosecutor felt as though our involvement would be beneficial for that person. But usually it ends around that 6-month time frame. And hopefully, they're better served with the services they have, so they don't have to return.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to see the 5177 is still there and Jamie's still there. So
yes,
good to see you, Gail.
You too, Jamie.
And then if you want to just go to the next slide, Arlia, here's our team's contact information. And then was able to answer, I think, quite a few questions, but if there's any other questions about the program, the new team members, the added aspect of jail reentry services, happy to answer those as well.
Thank you to all you.
Yes.
Appreciate the updates.
Thank you. Back to you, Kim.
Yeah. Folks, any other questions or comments for the group? Okay, hearing none, let's move on. Let's see some other updates. Ashley.
Hi, everyone. Ashley McGee here, Integrated Behavioral Health Care Manager. Lovely to see you all. And we're in a big room together today. So happy to see you all together. Just wanted to touch on real quick the diversion team expansion that's something operating the 5177 program that we've heard a lot from our prosecutors is challenges accepting certain referrals and the disconnect between when someone is in a jail setting and discharging to the community and kind of losing that individual in that. And so really the build out is also to support the efforts of helping individuals with stability and sustainability coming from that inpatient or, jail-based setting into the community and helping to improve outcomes there. And so we're really excited to have 2 new members and Jamie still trucking along with us and to be able to expand the scope so that they're not just serving individuals who have a qualifying charge, but can expand that scope to serve more individuals just in that transitionary period from a jail-based setting to the community to help that be more successful. For the Spokane County Regional Behavioral Health updates, I don't have anything too pressing to update, but I think always good to provide and make sure that we're getting you guys information on things that we are seeing. As Amy showed earlier, our crisis data dashboard, you could see she indicated that there was an increase in, I think it was other crisis services, which is really our mobile crisis services. So the mobile crisis services that our mobile crisis teams are providing. As she indicated, we are working on updating that data dashboard. We got some new data elements from the state in July. And so we're helping to ensure that reporting is going effectively with all our providers, and we'll be using some of that data and just some of the crisis system changes that have happened within the last several years to update our dashboard to be more reflective of what we're seeing. So incorporating things like SUD evaluations and detentions versus mental health, youth and adult-based services, and really just provide more information on what we're seeing and the ways our crisis system has expanded. One of the other things she indicated on that data dashboard was that we saw more of our rural providers responding out of office, right, for those mobile crisis responses. And we continue to see that grow. A lot of, obviously, mobile crisis response happens in the field. Sometimes that engagement starts with a phone call that's office-based, and then a team's responding or attempting to locate someone in the community to provide those mobile crisis services. One of the things that has impacted some of the response in the mobile crisis world is there was a ruling, Smith versus, I'm not, and it's leaving my mind right now, but there was a ruling down in Las Vegas, I think it was State versus Smith, where there was a law enforcement component engagement with an individual experiencing a behavioral health crisis. As a result of that ruling, which showed had some impact on local law enforcement there, we've seen law enforcement across the state of Washington have some hesitancy in their level of engagement with individuals in crisis in the community. And so our mobile crisis teams, our designated crisis responders, have been working to partner with our law enforcement agencies for when they are responding into the community and may need to apprehend someone to a safer location or engage with someone and need that safety element. So that's something that has had an impact in some of our local crisis response that we're currently navigating. We do have word that come the new ledge session up here in the new year, that there is going to be some focused attention on RCW 7105, which the Involuntary Treatment Act operates under, to update some of the language there to better address that need. So adding some new language. I'm not exactly sure what that will look like. Obviously, our next meeting is in January. So as we get into the new year, I'll be coming to our Behavioral Health Advisory Board with some updates on some legislative bills that we are tracking and kind of impacts on not only our crisis system, but our behavioral health system and kind of how we're anticipating those. And so I just wanted to bring some awareness on that. I also wanted to update that we're still awaiting DOA's designation of 988 hubs. Currently, Frontier Behavioral Health operates our regional crisis line as well as our 988 through the Department of Health, and they're currently in the process of looking to designate officially hubs for the state of Washington. They will continue their current contracts with the existing 988 providers up until July while they onboard those new providers. And we anticipate that those selections will be made here in December, and we'll have some more notification. We can send that out to the group as that will be very important for the way that our crisis system is set up in Spokane, because we've had this vertical integration. So we are anticipating that announcement here soon. And then lastly, one of the other things that I wanted to talk about was 1813, which is legislation that we brought here in the past, and I think very relevant given what Justin presented on today with the Crisis Relief and Sobering Center. So as it stands currently, the Spokane Regional BHASO oversees the crisis system, and that's a delegated responsibility from the managed care organizations for their members. So we oversee the system for the non-Medicaid and the Medicaid individuals and work closely with our managed care organization partners. 1813 expanded the scope of that delegation. And so in the future, we anticipate taking on crisis stabilization services. And so that's crisis stabilization, mental health stabilization that's provided currently at the Spokane Regional Stabilization Facility. And then also crisis relief services, which will be the new service type that will be provided in the new facility, that 23-hour, 59-minute stabilization service for individuals. And so we're currently working with our managed care organizations partners and the state on what that will look like in the future and gearing up for changes associated with that. And just kind of wanted to bring that information forward as well, as you'll probably hear more about that as we move forward, because there's a lot of work occurring on that end. I'm going to pause here to see if there's any questions on any of those topics. Not hearing or seeing any. So the other two things that I'll just touch on is we are wrapping up monitoring of our provider agencies, which is something that we do annually for all of our crisis providers and every other year for all of our other providers that provide services, which this year we monitor 19 different providers and ensured that we are putting out compliant and safe services out to the community and making updates, recommendations, and supporting our providers in providing those services. One of the other areas that we're focusing on moving forward, and again, why Justin and why we bring information to our Behavioral Health Advisory Board is we want to get information out there and we want to get input as we're developing new things. And so we are going into this new year, trying to maintain a focus of making sure that we're getting our information out to the community in the right spaces and the right places. I think that's something that we strive to do, but as you know, we have a smaller team that's doing a lot of the work, and so trying to get that information out while balancing the administrative work that comes along with that. And so if there's any spaces that any of our Behavioral Health Advisory Board members feel like would be pertinent for us to be bringing some of this information forward, please, we'd love to hear any spaces where you feel like some of these conversations are missing.
Questions, comments for Ashley? All right, Ashley, thank you. Anything else to add?
No, thank you, Kim.
No problem.
Ashley, as always, on my end, can you hear me okay? I do always want to, you and your team, you bring a wealth of information every time. So thank you.
Absolutely. Happy. Thank you guys for your guys' service and being here to provide the feedback to us as we work to not only maintain but develop our behavioral health system of care.
All right. Moving on. Let's see, Tom from
I have here
CCP.
the CCP minutes from September and October. First, I'll do September. At this meeting, our guest was Kaylin Roy, liaison to BH, ASO, and CCP. Brent Smith, CCP chair, facilitated the meeting. Also attending was Robin Segner, CCP co-chair, Tom Ghost, CCP secretary, and CCP members Aaron Smith, Sarah Leake, Sophia Alexander, and Rose Plorty. Gail Kogel had an excused absence. The September 2025 CCP meeting is called to order. The August 2025 CCP meeting minutes were read and approved. There was no August Behavioral Health Advisory Board meeting, so this was not reported on. We discussed the Evergreen Club Fun Run held this past August. Brent said that in the past, he got something out of it. People talked with us, took our flyers, and we got some publicity. But Brent said that this year there were only a few vendors and we did not pass out many flyers. However, Brent said that he liked taking pictures with the Spokane Indians mascot. We discussed the coming CCB Santa picture event. This will occur on Saturday, December 6th. Brent said that he emailed us updates about updated Santa picture flyers. Brent also said that he bought a new Santa suit, which only cost $6. Brent said that we made $50 at last year's event, and if we get 50 people to have their picture taken, we'll have enough money for new CCP t-shirts. The suggested donation for the Santa pictures are $5. He mentioned that we can pass out flyers at Evergreen Club and Frontier Behavioral Health, and we could possibly put flyers on the windshields of cars at Northtown. Also, we may be able to advertise in the Spokane County Community Services newsletter. The Santa event will be held at Brent's Church, Audubon Methodist, on Driscoll and Garland. We need posters put on the church in order to show where to go for the pictures. Sophia said that she may be able to buy a poster board. Also, we may be able to advertise for the event around the church's neighborhood. The Santa pictures will be 4 by 6 inches. However, they can be enlarged at Walmart rather cheaply. It was in note that we need to know how the CCP feels about the CCP budget for the coming year. The budget will be completed in November. The next CCP meeting will be held online or in person at the OBHA building on Monday, October 13, 2025 from noon to 1 p.m. Meeting was adjourned. Here are my minutes from October. At this meeting, our guests were Kaylin Roy, liaison of the BHSO and CCP, and Gail Kogel of the Office of Behavioral Health Advocacy. Brent Smith, CCP Chair, facilitated the meeting. Also attending was Robin Sagner, CCP Co-Chair, Tom Goes, CCP Secretary, and CCP members Aaron Smith, Sarah Leaks, Sophia Alexander, and Rose Plorty. The online October 2025 CCP meeting is called to order. The September 2025 CCP minutes read and approved. We discussed the September 2025 Behavioral Health Advisory Board meeting. At this meeting, there was an update on the Initiative of Student Wellness, ISW, by Katie Rice. The ISW did a screening for 8 schools or 1,000 students. 10% of the students screened have benefited. The program helps. Some schools need more service because the students have special needs. There was an administrative update by Justin Johnson and Jessica Thompson. The first item in this presentation was a crisis system update. It was noted that the Mobile Rapid Response Crisis Team, or MRRCT, was endorsed. You will have a team to respond to crisis and send this team to help. Law enforcement will participate. Next, it was noted that the multi-care deaconess will have a new psychiatric center in 2026-2027. Also, the Veteran Center is potentially accepting involuntary placement for veterans needing psychiatric care. This will take the overflow from Seattle. House Bill 1813 was mentioned. By January 2026, BH Care will have information on BH. There will be information on BH crises across the state. Also, there was an opioid settlement update. It was mentioned that if there's going to be around $7 million funding for the opioid program, and that there will be a 10-year investment for provider services. There will be a stabilization center, and if needed, clients will be referred for higher care. A computer page is being developed having to do with the Crisis Relief and Sobering Center. Next, the CCB discussed the coming Santa Picture event. This will occur on Saturday, December 6, 2025 from 1 to 3 p.m. at the Audubon Methodist Church on Driscoll and Garland. CCP members should arrive by 11 a.m. The CCB can possibly advertise for this in the Spokane County Community Services newsletter. Rose said that she's making a sign to put on the church to show where we are having the event. Sophia said that she has bought a poster board with a sign on. Robin mentioned that the CCB needs to share the Santa flyer on Facebook. Brent said that he will ask Kelly Miller at the next Consumer Advisory Panel meeting if we could flyers on cars at FBH to advertise for the event. The CCP may also be able to advertise on cars at Northtown. Some other events the CCP might attend were mentioned, such as Hands Across the Bridge, the NAMI Walk, and Unity of the Community, as well as the usual. Just a minute here. As well as the usual attendance to the John and June Nevergoing Cup run. Sophia and Robin said that they would try to Google on the computer in order to find out the cost for a table at these events. It was noted that we have to complete the 2026 budget by the November CCP meeting. Next CCP meeting will be held online or in person at the OBHA building on Monday, November 17, 2025 from noon to 1 p.m. Meeting was adjourned. Those are my minutes from September and October.
Thank you, Tom. I want to call out again to Saturday, 12/6 from 1 to 3. Please support CCP by going to get a picture with Santa.
Yeah.
Tom, I just put that on my calendar. I will see you there.
It's at the Audubon Methodist Church on
Audubon Methodist at Driscoll and Garland.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
1 to 3 on December 6th. Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Moving on a little bit. Any final board comments or public comments? I will put those both together. I do want to acknowledge that I saw that Jamie, Lita, and Tony arrived to the meeting just a tad bit late. Anything for the good of the group? All right. Hearing nothing, I want to wish everyone happy holidays. We will meet again, let's see, Monday, January 26th, so the new year. If I could have a motion to adjourn, that would be fantastic.
A motion and Merry Christmas and Happy Thanksgiving and Happy New Year to everybody.
Thank you, Shane. Gail, I think you were a second. Thank you so much. Again, thanks everyone for attending. Again, happy holidays. See you next year.
Happy holidays. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Happy holidays.
Bye.